awful. What a piss.
Are you sure this is appropriate on the podcast?
Yeah.
It feels like infringement of their privacy, though.
Start with that.
Welcome to episode 7 of the Basic Stitch Knitting podcast. I'm Celine, your host, coming to you from Hong Kong. I have not been podcasting for a long time. I've really missed this, and this feels like I'm podcasting for the first time again. Welcome and thank you for giving this podcast a chance if you are a new viewer, and welcome back if you are a returning viewer. And if you're a returning viewer, you might notice that the background, the setting of this podcast, this episode is changed. It's because, if you remember, I used to have a little, what do you call it, like a little cupboard that can act as a little table at the same time. You know what I mean. We have replaced that with a cupboard. Like an open cupboard, like an IKEA looking cupboard with 4 different cubicles, 4 different cubes, and I have put all my yarn in there. I would thought it would look really good in the video for the podcast, but for some reason it isn't. So, it isn't looking really good. So, I've decided to just change the background, and I'm now on my bed. I hope it doesn't make any difference for you. And after organizing the yarn cupboard, I'm going to give you like a little tour of my stash, but it's like a very, very small stash. And I just feel like you might be interested in looking in that. Just tell me if you're interested, but nothing really exciting anyway. So, welcome back, and it has been I think it has probably been like 3 to 4 weeks since I last podcasted. Mainly because this is usually a bi-weekly podcast, and I went to England for a week. I don't know how to explain it, but it happened that I haven't been podcasting for a long time. I have been to the north part of England for a week, or actually 9 to 10 days, because I flew on a Thursday night. I almost forgot because it was like a midnight plane. It's like 1 a.m. plane, and I thought I would go into work and then fly on Friday, basically Saturday, like work on Friday and then go home and, do the packing, last minute packing, and go to the airport and fly at 1 a.m. That's what I thought. But the boyfriend was like, do you want to check, double check the time of the plane? And I was like, why? Because we have checked it many times before. I've sent to you the itinerary. Anyway, I checked and I realized it was Thursday. I was so glad because otherwise I would have missed that flight. So I immediately had to go back to work the next day and handed in leave application for another day off. It was a little bit, I don't know, my boyfriend, after we found out the mistake, he was like, yeah, then we have like 1 day more together. But at that moment, I just couldn't be happy because everything that I have planned just got thrown out of the window. I suddenly had to pack immediately, and I need to arrange my work, like tasks at work. It felt so strange. It felt like I was violently dragged out of my normal life suddenly without any mental preparation. But yeah, it turned out well. It turned out fine. And I flew from Hong Kong to Helsinki, through Helsinki to Manchester City. my boyfriend lived in Manchester City, and we are in a long distance relationship, and we spent a couple of days in Manchester City, and then we drove back to Yorkshire. Spent days at his parents' house, and also visited a lot of different places that I'm really excited to talk to you about that. And I mentioned Manchester City. And we all know that on Monday, which is basically the day after I came back from Manchester City, there was a terrorist attack at Ariana Grande's concert, killing a lot of people. I'm going to talk about that because, I know there are people who don't like political things, like during the presidential election in the States, a lot of podcasters wanted to voice their opinion, but were reluctant to because a lot of people come to knitting podcast as a getaway. They don't want to, if they want political input, they would go somewhere else. So, but what I feel like about terrorist attack, about things like these, they are more like humanitarian issue. They're more, it's not just political. And I don't actually separate political life and private life, because political life, affects private life in every single way. But yeah, I'm just giving a heads up. I'm going to put that section to the last section of this episode, so that if you don't want really to listen to anything about it, which I respect, you can just skip it. I will have timestamp. One thing I really like about my my podcast, is that I have timestamp below here, down below in the info box, and it's actually also good if you are worried. I mean, like you're not sure what I'll be talking about. You can just go there and have a look and see if you're interested in what I'm going to talk about. Now I can't really tell you like a summary of what I'm going to talk in this episode, because I don't really have a plan. Kind of have a plan, and I even want to kind of split the episode into 2 parts, because it has been a long time since I last podcasted, and there's a lot of things I want to talk about. I just feel like one episode will be too much if it's like a 1.5 or 2 hours episode. It will be way too much. But don't feel overwhelmed, because you can always split the podcast like 2 episodes, and not exactly 2 episodes. So 1 episode split into 2 parts. You can watch them in 2 weeks. You don't have to watch them in one sitting, right? So yeah, I hope it's okay for you. Okay, so now I need to think about what I need to say. First of all, I'd like to talk about my trip to England. It was hectic at the beginning, because after getting onto the plane in Hong Kong, after everybody was seated, the captain, the pilot, through announcement told us that because of the busy airspace in China, which probably happened all the time, I don't know what's going on in the airspace of China. It could be a lot of planes. It could be some military operation going on. So because of the busy airspace, everyone, and it's a very, very big plane. It's like 3-4-3 or 3-3-3 kind of seat, like 9 people in a row, that kind of flight. So we all had to sit there for 2 extra hours. 2 extra hours on the plane, which is supposed to be a long haul plane anyway. It's from Hong Kong to Helsinki. So, but everybody was calm, everybody was okay. I mean, like, not okay, but a lot of us were very worried about the connecting flight. I was worried about my connecting flight because it was probably 1 hour or 1.5 hours after landing in Helsinki that I had to fly to Manchester. So I was like, yeah, if I had to arrive in Manchester one day later or like a few hours later, it sucks, but it's okay. And I'm pretty sure they will find a way to deal with it. So ended up after getting to Helsinki, I had to run from one gate to another, like to the gate that went to Manchester. And let me tell you, running in the airport is never fun. I wasn't running with like a hand luggage, like not with the suitcase or whatever. I was with a backpack, like a small one, not heavy either, wearing flats. And I don't know if you know about that, but flats are not the most comfortable shoes to run in, although they're way better than heels, but still. So, yeah, very hectic beginning. And on the flight from Helsinki to Manchester, the pilot said the weather in Manchester currently is very beautiful, 11 degrees Celsius, very sunny. So I was feeling hopeful. But as the plane was approaching Manchester, was approaching our destination, it started to feel cold and wet. And it happened that in Manchester, it's raining and kind of cold. So I wonder if you could actually feel it on the plane, because in the plane you're not literally breathing the air from the outside, right? And you're not experiencing the temperature from the outside, because if that's the case, it would be terrifying. It's so freaking cold out there. But I don't know why, just when the plane was approaching Manchester, maybe they're trying to prepare us for the horrible temperature and weather in Manchester. It just got worse in the plane. But the weather was so nice in Helsinki. Oh, and not sure if I said this before, I'm a big fan of Scandinavian design, and especially Finnish design when it comes to, say, like a tableware. So I was hoping for a lot of time to buy something, do a little bit of shopping or just window shopping in Helsinki Vantaa airport, but it didn't happen because of the very short period of like connecting, whatever you call. And it's almost the same flying back from Manchester to Helsinki to Hong Kong. So I didn't buy anything from Helsinki. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. The one thing I really like about Scandinavian design, or like very particularly, let's talk about tableware of Ittala or Arabia or Marimekko. They are very classic and they don't go out of style. And even if you come back 2 to 3 years later, or even 5 years later, they're still selling the same thing. There might be new products, but the old products are usually still there. So I like that kind of feeling. I don't like to be rushed into decision. I don't like to buy things because it will go out soon. It's a lot of stress in buying things, and I like simplicity in a classic design. That is a whole lot of tangent. Okay, so I was there in Manchester and met with my boyfriend, and we went to Northern Quarter, not immediately, but on a better day, which is like next day. Even if it's not a better day, you still kind of have to go out. And we visited Northern Quarter. I was looking for Countess Ablaze because the Countess, which is not her name, has a real shop in Northern Quarter of Manchester City. We went there, me and my boyfriend, and I was looking at the yarn. I wasn't sure that I would buy yarn from there, because I know if I buy it from Hong Kong, I can buy it tax-free, like VAT-free, and it could probably cover the shipping cost. So I don't need to rush myself into making a decision whilst I was there, because it's not a bad thing, but sometimes when I'm with my boyfriend, I don't really want to spend like a long time just to think about the exact colorway that I want and the project that I want to use it in. I want the leisure to be at home and look at the screen and think and look at project pages, Ravelry and things like that. But at least it was a really good experience because I got to see the yarn with my eyes and I got to touch it, and it confirms my love for the base. I think it's called English Gentleman. I think it is a Masham BFL-ish kind of wool. It feels really nice. So if I'm buying anything from Countess Ablaze, I think I'll probably buy yarn of that yarn base. And Countess Ablaze herself was not there that day, which is a shame, but it's fine because I might feel embarrassed leaving empty-handed otherwise. But I bought a PomPom magazine. Right, it's here. PomPom. Super beautiful. This is PomPom Magazine Quarterly, which Spring 2017. It's not the latest one. The latest one is probably their 5th anniversary issue, but I didn't see it there, so I didn't buy it. And I really like a lot of designs here in this book. It's nothing new to you, I believe, but you know, I particularly love this design at the back. What's this called? Bombus. A romantic reimagining of a bomber jacket. Let me see if I could show it to you. Well, as I'm flipping through this book, I just love it. Here it is. Is it focusing? I hope so. So yeah, really pretty. And I actually happened to looked up a lot of like 3D-ish stitches recently because they look so interesting, but at the same time you kind of have to use more yarn to create the fabric. So still, I think it's probably worth it. What I mean is basically when you do 3D stitches, it's not just one fabric, you kind of bunch up the fabric a little bit. So to create a certain like same amount of length and width of the fabric, you're using way more yarn. But it's interesting, and it's used in this particular pattern, and I'm really kind of want to knit it, but I do not have the yarn in mind yet to use. Other than that, there are also another cardigans that I really like, and it's called Melly by Camille Roselle. This is how it looks. It's a cropped cardigan, and I just recently realized that I really look better in cropped and boxy cardigan. There are people who like to do fitted cardigan or a fitted sweater. It looks good on a lot of people, especially when you're going for that retro, not 90s, but like 40s, 50s kind of look. That will look really good, but I don't have the body figure for it, and I will talk about it later when I talk about one of my whips that I'm thinking about frogging. Anyway, and in this book there's this Countess Ablaze knit group and knit and crochet group. So if you happen to be in Manchester City and if you'd like to join a knit group at Countess Ablaze, it's doable. It's 21st Swan Street, Manchester. The postcode is M45JJ. Saturdays from 1 p.m. £2 for entrance. So yes. And the reason why I have to buy PomPom magazine all the way in England is because I really don't get it in Hong Kong, and I try online shopping, you know, like Book Depository, they don't carry PomPom magazine. So yeah. Of course, other than PomPom magazine, I bought some books, and not a lot because I don't want my luggage to be heavy, like some books from charity shop. You guys could really get cheap books in England. This is, I don't know how much I paid for this. This is £1.99, like £2. It's chocolat because I really love the movie and I kind of want to read the book as well. I'm not the biggest chocolate fan, but this is just different. This just elevates chocolate to another level. I mean, the movie. And this is one of the movie I feel like Johnny Depp doesn't have to be in there. He just doesn't need to exist. And the other book I bought is The Darker Proof, Stories from a Crisis. And Adam Morse Jones and Edmund White contributed, I think, 2 short stories in there. I don't know, when I was reading, it didn't say what it means, like darker proof, and it says the darker proof distills the cruelty of the disease and the defiant heroism it can evoke in writing so beautiful that it haunts. Buy the book, read it, think about the lives people carrying the virus must lead. So I was thinking, what kind of virus, what kind of disease are you talking about? And I was guessing HIV, AIDS, and I got it correct. So it was really interesting in reading about AIDS and HIV from a literature point of view, because I think literature, you could always read news, but I need more than facts. I need emotions, I need feeling, I need to read to experience the kind of atmosphere of that time when the virus is first known and a group of people, mainly the LGBT, like the gay people, were particularly blamed for this virus. That kind of feeling atmosphere in that community. I feel like there are a lot of things you just don't get from reading news. And I'm not saying literature is definitely not non-fact. It's just fact with interpretation. It's a reflection of fact. It should be. So, I don't know. I don't think I can be very eloquent about this book or literature, especially before starting to read it. Anyway, it's like 1.5 pounds. Oh my god. I know you're probably not very interested in it. I'm just really excited about the trip and I just want to talk a lot about it. So first of all, when we arrived in Manchester City, I think before visiting Countess Ablaze, what we did was to walk along the canal. And well, I've walked along that canal for a lot of times before. Not like a lot of times, but whilst I was in Manchester this time and last time, I spent quite a lot of time just walking there, sitting there, talking about those boats on the canal and the geese and ducks and just everything. It's really pleasant. It's a very pleasant place, and you can get a beer or a tea nearby. Not a very big beer person, so a tea. And so yeah, before going for a few months already, like 2 to 3 months, the boyfriend has been sending a lot of pictures of the goslings because apparently it's a season now in England, because we saw a lot of geese with babies. So it's super cute, and I have recorded a video of mother and father geese jumping into the water and the goslings followed suit. And I'm going to include the clip in this video because it's so adorable.
It's time for the ducklings. Now come this side. That side. No, they're going the wrong way. Oh, we can't see them. Oh, that's annoying. I thought they would come this way. I wonder why there's so many around here. Oh, it's, getting very territorial already. Oh no, it's just getting some food.
Anyway, so we just really saw a lot of geese everywhere. And I feel like geese is probably like the national bird of England. I don't think it's more populated than pigeon, but geese, it's just everywhere. Or maybe just north of England, I don't know, because I didn't go to the south this time. And then we visited an alpaca farm. Before going to England, I was talking about wanting to visit an alpaca farm for a long time because my boyfriend sent me a news clip about an alpaca farm in Sheffield opening its farm on Saturdays, I believe, to visitors, and visitors can walk the alpaca for a price. You visit the farm, you walk around, and you can walk the alpacas. It sounded very, very exciting, and I really want to be really close to the animal. But we didn't make any reservation, and we checked again long time later. Apparently the farm was saying if you do not have a reservation, then don't come, because they are having like more than a thousand or 2,000 of reservation made. So I was like, oh no, this is getting really popular. So I feel like if I want to be close to an animal, but I don't want to be close to the animal in a very crowded environment where there are a lot of other people. So like we are kind of, I don't want to be like fighting for the animal's attention or whatever. So I figured I'm not doing it, but still kind of want to see alpacas. And the boyfriend, I didn't force him to do anything. I didn't even ask him to do anything. He just, got up and Googled a bit on alpacas farm, and if you can't go to the one that is really popular, are there any other alpacas farm that we can visit? And he found this alpaca farm that I'm not really sure if I should tell the name. Well, it's in Cheshire. Is it in Cheshire area? I'll write it down if it's not Cheshire, or my boyfriend could tell me if it's not Cheshire. It's south of Manchester? Nah, north of Manchester. And can I just say, I think the alpaca farm is called White Peak Alpaca Farm, I think. I was hesitant about telling the name of this alpaca farm because I'm about to share something that I wasn't sure if I should share, but I decided I should share because it's not illegal to do so. I have recorded some clips at the alpaca farm, or strictly speaking, the boyfriend has recorded some clips without us in the clips, I think. And I think they are quite cute, so I wanted to insert them into this video as well. But before that, I'm going to talk a little bit about some funny stories about this alpaca farm. So apparently, when you Google this farm, you could go to the official site, I believe, and then there will be a video in the official site with the owner of the farm introducing the alpacas and introducing the farm. It looks really legit, albeit being a little bit old-fashioned or like very documentary BBC in 20 years ago. It was good. It was a little bit funny, and it feels like the alpacas are really well taken care of, and you really want to go there. And then we did a lot of, we almost decided to go. We were ready to go. And then we went into, my boyfriend did a little bit more research, and there was this Facebook page of the farm, and there was some rating and comments. It's always good to read a little bit of comments before going. And funny thing. So some people there commented that this is not verbatim. I'm just, I paraphrase everything. So basically a person said, this woman, the owner of the farm, is a convicted criminal, and this is not even a lie, this is not even a joke, because it's on public domain, and she cited the criminal cases, or I think it's like different court cases, cited the number of the cases, and which court the case eventually went up to. So it's not theft or, minor crime. It's things like, it's like violent crime, dangerous driving-ish, or, like assault. So I was like, what? And there's somebody commenting, like, a lot of people actually support the lady saying, we've been there, she's the nicest, and even if she's done everything that you said she's done, it doesn't affect our experience in the farm. the fact that she's a convicted criminal has nothing to do with the alpacas or whatever. But still, we feel a little bit funny about it. And someone was saying, oh, this one is a funny bit. I think someone was giving the owner her pet. I don't remember which pet. But apparently the pet was mistreated. And the person said she was going away, her family was going away for a while. So they handed their cockerel to this lady of the farm, the alpaca farm, so that she could take care of the cockerel while they were away. And when they come home, the couple, the farm couple, admitted to them that they had killed the cockerel and had eaten the cockerel because the cockerel was running after them. I was like, wow. It's almost like giving my like dog to somebody so that they can take care of the dog, like my pet dog, and then come back to find out that it's killed and eaten. That was pretty weird. So, but at the same time, we're like the court cases, yes, it's in public domain. You could definitely go check it out. And even now when I'm talking about it, I'm definitely, like, this is not defamation because, it's on public domain. And afterwards, I actually did a little bit of research. And it's on the news. So, yeah. But eating of the cockerel part wasn't in the news. And we are not sure about the truth in that comment. But anyway, we just decided to go anyway. And we arrived there. And Joanna, the female owner of the farm, came out to meet us, and she talked about having this shop selling wool, selling alpaca wool, and other alpaca-related things. Like, she mentioned the shop 4 times before we actually went in to look at the animals. And there are some pheasants and some turkey. And it's funny because while she was introducing the farm and the animals to us, my boyfriend and I happened just to be thinking about the same thing. So when she introduced the turkeys and said, last Christmas, a friend just gave us 2 turkeys. And I was like thinking, right. When are you going to eat them? And then she showed us a big cockerel, like huge. And at the same, I was like, is this cockerel for food? My boyfriend was thinking about the same thing afterwards when we talk about it. It's strange. It's funny. And then there was this sheep, I think, in the farm. And she said the sheep is having a vacation here because it's going to be shorn next week. So the neighbor or a friend just sent the sheep here, to stay here for a while. And I was like, are you going to mistreat that? Are you going to mistreat this poor animal? I know this is probably unfair to her, but, human perception is affected. And we think it's funny. And yeah, we got to see a lot of alpacas. And there was a Shetland pony and some horses, I believe. And believe it or not, some baby kangaroos. I'm not sure if they are like baby kangaroos or it's just a species that is a kangaroo or looks like a kangaroo, but it's much smaller. Not quite sure. So I'm going to insert the clips here, and I hope what I have just said doesn't affect how you view the cute alpacas. They're super cute. So please enjoy. It's over there. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do like voiceover, just like music during the video, I think.
No, I'm gonna do an interview with you.
No.
Yeah. I'm gonna film you and you're gonna be like, we're here at Whitechapel Farm. And it's White Peak. South of Manchester. Just now you said it's White Church and then now it's White Chapel. But it's actually White Peak. It's White Peak Alpaca Farm. Right. There's lots of alpacas and they're really happy to see us. And all of them here are female alpacas, pregnant female alpacas. apparently.
I wonder where are the guys though? Because when we watched the video today, there were guys, right?
Yeah.
Some of the guys.
This one's sneezy.
This one is like an outcast because it has always been here just now. It's like away from the crowd.
Right. Should we do can I interview you now?
No?
Why?
What kind of thing you want to interview?
I just want...
Hello? Look at it! Choo choo choo! Like, okay, I'm going to do a close-up. I love its fat legs. I wonder if after being shaven, whether their legs stay fat. Maybe it's just fur. Right? What do you think?
I think they'll be reasonably muscular for an animal like that.
I don't think you say they are shaven, they're like just shit.
Shit.
Look at that, like a dog. Cockerels. Walking closer to the alpacas. Which color do you like most?
Orange.
Orange?
Mm-hmm.
I think they are called brown.
These are kind of orangey, that's kind of dark brown.
What's actually fun because she actually said like,
oh my god,
poop poop.
That's awful. I want to piss.
Are you sure this is appropriate on the podcast?
Yeah.
It feels like infringement of their privacy though.
Start with that. Did you get the poo on there?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Oh. What's this one doing?
Hello! This one just stand right in front of me and not moving. Like this few.
They like the attention.
Yeah.
Oh my god, look at this one laid on the ground looking at us.
Which one? Which one?
That one on the ground. Look at his head.
Oh.
What the fuck is he doing? Get a picture of it.
Like, let's see if it can. Hello, Alpaca. Is it too little? I think they just have too much to eat. They don't care.
They've got ample amount of grass on the floor.
Yeah. But the other day, like Eva in Sheffield, they actually could eat them.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of do they eat? Do they eat like the dry ones?
I think they'll eat whatever they want. Ooh, this one's coming. Hello, Alpaca. Hello. You hungry?
The feeling of being completely ignored.
This one's having a bath.
This is beautiful, the color. So big. So after going to Cheshire, after going to this farm, you know, when I say after, I don't mean like right after that, but you know, basically we went to some other places as well. And if you are a regular viewer here, you know I'm a fan of Bakery Bears podcast. I can't say the biggest fan because it feels like, you know, they have so many viewers, like devoted viewers. How can I be so arrogant and say I'm like bigger than them? So no, I'm just a big fan of the Bakery Bears podcast. And I know there are people who are like, I come to a knitting podcast for knitting content. I don't want anything else. But there are also people who are happy and who want a lot of other contents. And it's just life, you know, like I'm a true believer that a person can have as many hobbies as he or she wants. And I think it's a constant struggle for people like that to juggle between hobbies. And right now, what I feel like is I really want to read more, but when I'm knitting, I can't read. And I really want to get knitting done because, or or else I'll feel guilty for not being productive, like not having anything to show on the podcast, for example. Which actually makes me very happy when I actually had the chance to not knit in the plane and just read. Or like when I was waiting for the flight, I read 30 to 40 pages in one sitting of the book I'm currently reading. Oh, that is the book I'm currently reading, The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. And this is a very small book. That's why I think it's a good book to bring when you're traveling. And also it's a library book from Hong Kong Public Library. And I have some post-it here. It's like when I see some really, like beautiful sentence, or mainly sentences that just resonate a lot with me, I'll put a small post-it here. And I have more here. That's how I read. So yeah, it's a surprisingly enjoyable book because it feels, the name The Age of Innocence doesn't really tell a lot, and it's a kind of a old-ish book. I don't know, I thought I wouldn't enjoy it, but I'm totally enjoying the book. But tangent, I was talking about Bakery Bear's podcast. So in Bakery Bear podcast, apart from knitting content, you get some baking content and history content, and I really love, I can do content and everything else, but I really love the history part because Dan is really huge on especially the British history, English history, and they go to a lot of places, different places to knit, and goes to abbeys and castles and stately homes, and I think it really introduces me to, this thing called stately homes. I never knew that was a thing. I was looking into my window a lot, if you notice. It's because I think it's the cotton season. There's so many cotton pieces. I don't know what you call it, like flying in the air. It's so beautiful. It's going up and down. It almost looks like snow. And some bit of the cottons are really big. It's just beautiful. Like living in Hong Kong, it's super hot. It feels strange, like, having snowflakes flying outside the window, but it's super hot. And some of them are lived in, like the one that we visited this time. So last summer when I went to Yorkshire, me and my boyfriend, we visited Rievaulx Abbey, which we loved. And we went to Newby Hall, I think it's called. We definitely enjoyed Rievaulx Abbey better because it has a lot of information everywhere. You could borrow this headset. I'm not sure if you have to pay for it, but there's this headset thingy telling you what's happening in each part of the Abbey. And the Abbey was really big, and it has a lot of points of interest, and you kind of have a glimpse of what life was like for the monks back then. Very simple. They don't eat meat, they just eat fish, and it's very much like me. And they woke up really early and went to sleep very early as well. And back in the day it was like cold and damp, like what it is like today, but you kind of have to be very high-ranking monks to have access to fireplace. They lived a very hard life, and I think they intentionally did that because they believed that living a hard life is a way to guarantee a better afterlife, I believe. So it was a lot of information. It was so fun. It's a very good learning experience as well. And this time we went to one abbey and one stately home. And the abbey we went to is Fountains Abbey, and it was mentioned in Bakery Bear's podcast, of course, and I think I basically learned about the Fountains Abbey from them. So when my boyfriend talked about the Abbey, I was like, yeah, sure, definitely. Fountain Abbey is big, and it has a lot of place to knit. I didn't, because it was raining that day. Very miserable. No, wait. The weather was really good when we visited Fountain Abbey. The weather was really, really bad when we visited Castle Howard, which I will talk about it later. Castle Howard is a stately home. It's not a castle. And Fountains Abbey is an abbey, like a like a church or a place where monks used to live. And it was huge. It was with like big fountains. I was like, oh, where's the fountain though? And then boyfriend and his mom was like, that was the fountain. I mistook the fountain. I thought they were like ponds or lakes, but that was what they call fountains. And there's like a part where you need to like do a little bit of hiking to get a view of the Abbey. It was fine. But to be honest, I enjoy Ravelry more, mainly because of the information that I could get. There might probably be like a guided tour in Fountains Abbey as well, but we didn't follow the tour. We were there a little bit late, I guess. Not very late, but we spent like 3 hours there, I think. And then I have a little bit of clip. I might insert it in this video after I stop talking, or I might just insert it while I'm talking. I don't know what I'm going to do, but you will know because you will be watching this. So yeah. And then we went to Castle Howard, as I said, and it's a stately home which is still lived in. I think it's the west wing of it, still lived in by the Howard family, which is super cool. This is a very big, stately home, and I found inside the stately home, of course, it was very, very impressive, and I could see a lot of religious influence in there. Not exactly, it doesn't have to be one single religion like Christianity, but I feel like there is a lot of thing that goes with gods and goddess. There's like this god of wine or grapes, and there are a lot of elements like wind and air, which is the same thing, water, plays with elements and horoscopes. And there's this dome on in the castle, in the house. And dome is a very religious thing. Religions use it. I think Muslims use it, and Christians use it. I guess it's because like dome is like a representative of heaven, the sky, and it is an effort or an attempt to get closer to the heaven. So there's just a lot of like religious influence in the house. And you gotta be really, really rich to actually incorporate a lot of like religious thing in your house, I think. But what really impressed me more is the outside of the house. The weather was horrible that day, but what can you do? Because like I feel like at the beginning I was talking to my boyfriend. I thought we need to make plan. We need to make plans, and if the weather is good, we could do this, and if the weather is bad, we do this. But what he was saying was, you can't really predict the weather, and you just need to do what you need to do despite the weather. And I think that's what English people have been doing forever. So what we did was we went to Castle Howard when it was raining and it was cold, and there was this English garden. It must be fun to visit English rose garden when it's raining. There is this specific species of rose that smells really, really nice. But I don't know what rose it is. I have the name of the rose here. I'll type it here, and if you know what kind of rose it actually is, well, I would just Google about it, but at least you know what I mean, like what kind of roses I'm talking about. It smells so, so nice. And we also walked to the part, there's a forest. There is a forest in the area of Castle Howard. And it was a very, during that period of time when they built a castle, French influence was a big thing. French and Dutch influence, like French and Dutch garden. Everything is symmetrical and well planned out. I'm not sure about symmetrical, but everything is well planned out. People cut down trees to plan the garden, like landscaping. But the Howard family being very, very forward thinking, avant-garde, they really have a forest. They keep how it looks and then probably developed a little bit of path in the garden, in the forest. It feels really nice to walk there. And I saw a sign saying back in the days the Howard family might actually get lost in the forest, and their servants, like the maid and people who worked, the staff member who worked in the house would come out to rescue these Howards, which was pretty fun. And when you were looking from the window from the house, inside the house, you could see a big pyramid. And I really wanted to go closer to the pyramid because I have a thing for pyramid. I always feel like it's so mysterious, and it's, like they say, the shape of a pyramid is the best shape to focus energy or to actually amplify energies. It preserves food better, it preserves water better, and it's like a means to communicate with extraterrestrial beings. Everything that surrounds pyramid fascinates me. I really kind of want to go closer to it, but I couldn't because it's really, really far away. So anyway, I didn't get close to the really huge pyramid in a Castle Howard. Have you guys been to Castle Howard? And if you have you been close to the pyramid? Can you tell me about that? Especially Dan and Kay, because I can only count on you guys for getting close to the pyramid. So yeah. So after that, I think we went to Hebden Bridge. Again, when I say after that, it's not like chronological. It is chronological order, but it's not like right immediately after that. But when we were going back from Yorkshire to Manchester, we went to Hebden Bridge because it was between the two places. And it's another lovely town. And it was raining, so yeah. Oh, but I really, really loved my time when I was in York. I love York. My brother studied in Sheffield University, and he went to York, and he told me York was boring for him. And when I went to York last year and this year, I was like, what are you talking about? It's like the most fascinating little town in the world. It's so beautiful, just looking at the window display of shops, of bakeries. It makes me the happiest. And there are like a lot of fudge shops, a lot of bakery, and it's just really nice. The shambles, the buildings that's like leaning forward a little bit, and having afternoon tea, cream tea. I don't go to Betty's, and I've never been there because people are always lining up there, and I feel like if you are paying a lot of money for cream tea or afternoon tea, you probably don't feel that it's worth it, and the food will feel not as good. I'd prefer, going somewhere that is less popular or famous and have a decent cream tea at a reasonable price. So, yeah, and I could never ever finish an afternoon tea. It's just too much for me. And we went to the Little Shambles, and I really liked it last time I went to Little Shambles because they offer the best cream tea. I don't have points of comparison, I don't think, but I really love, the home-baked scones and the clotted cream that is apparently homemade, and, really good tea. And my boyfriend was doing breakfast, like full-day English breakfast. Last time, we both loved everything at the Little Shambles, but when I visited this year again, and things felt a little bit different. The menu changed a little bit. I loved it better last time. I'm not sure if it's just change of expectation or, just so many things can change in a year. Anyway, I really love my experience in the north of England. I love every bit of it, and I felt kind of sad having to leave England and also my boyfriend. But, well, it's fine because I could always go again, and yeah, I'm happy. So I'm going to take a little break and come back to talk about my knitting projects. So I think that concludes the first part of episode 7. It might be like a abrupt conclusion, but I'm kind of getting a little bit hoarse. And I just want to let you know I really miss podcasting. I really miss talking to you guys, and I miss the online community and everything. But I've also been enjoying my life the fullest. I have taken a bit of rest, and I love really, really seeing my boyfriend in Manchester. It's really warm here in Hong Kong, so hair up. So I think that's it, and I really want to thank you for watching this episode. Like, this is probably part 1 of episode 7, and I hope to see you again in episode 7 part 2. Thank you very much. Bye bye.